Hello, howdy. What's up?
Greetings.
See, I never
and
know
welcome.
how many seconds it's going to take for this to actually launch, so the intros are usually goofy. Welcome. Hi, Blake. Welcome.
Hi, Brian.
Good to
What's
see
up?
you, sir. It is
You
Tuesday,
too.
January 9th, 2024. And this is the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media because the old American media has failed you. Thank you so much for joining us. So we want you to follow the show. It's called the Agree to Disagree show. It's on Spotify. Ooh, I hear the show playing. Wait, I'm not playing it. Are you playing it?
No, it's on your end. You got it
Oh, it's
running
on
somewhere.
my side.
Brian with all of his tabs open somewhere.
Bro, I got so many tabs. I got tabs on top of tabs. I'm keeping tabs.
Brian never shuts his computer down. Probably
I
got
got
tabs from 2 weeks ago. Yep.
I got tabs on it.
Old
Yeah,
tabs
really
from
do.
weeks ago that are still open because Brian's
No,
afraid
stop.
he's gonna.
Months and months ago, not
Probably,
weeks.
yeah.
No, probably 100% accurate. But thank you for following us. I was starting to say that we want you to follow on Spotify and subscribe to the podcast. It's called the Agree to Disagree show. So go to Spotify and do that. Rumble, the New American Media. So subscribe over there as well. Truth Social, the New American Media. X at American_media_. Facebook, it's a private group. Was it quotation marks? TNAM_S. The Agree to Disagree show. Quotation marks. Join that group. And then we also have a page, the New American Media. Instagram.com/the New American Media. And on Telegram at TNAM and TNAM chat. Follow us in all the places, please. Give us thumbs up. Click the heart button. Click the like button. Leave your comments. We appreciate when you participate in this program live. It's always more fun when we get to include your conversations. I thank Blake for being a part of today's program. Follow Blake. He is at TV's Blake Walley on X. Also his homepage, thenextlevelnews.com.
Yeah.
Blake, how was your weekend, sir? It feels like we haven't talked in a million years.
Yeah, it does seem that way. It's only been since Thursday, but yes, it was pretty busy for me. So, but I'm delighted to be back here this Tuesday.
Heck yeah. In non-political or revolutionary important world events, we do have a sporting event that occurred last night. Blake, did you watch the national champion asterisk bowl?
Oh my God, the national championship was last night. What happened, Brian? Who won?
Well, there were a bunch of cheaters that should have been disqualified, and I don't know how they were allowed to stay in there. And they soundly beat the University of Washington.
Yeah, I lost a bunch of money on that one. Not a bunch.
Oh, ooh.
Well, the line moved. The line moved. I think it started at 3.5 as a Michigan favorite. Then it moved up to. I was sitting there at 4.5, and I didn't know which side to take, and I was just kind of waiting for the line to move. Went up to 5.5, and I was like, "All right, I'm taking Washington. Give me the points. It'll be a close game. Take the money." Then I also took Penix for MVP. I had a couple other prop bets that just missed. If Washington would have gotten a touchdown in the second half, I would have won like $300. But it was crazy. They did not score again, or they scored a field goal. That was it. I was like,
they had that long pass, but like that 73 kept holding. He kept holding on that team up north. It's like, oh man, kind of blatant holds. Also, not holds are weird. When do you call them? When do you let them play? I don't know. I guess as long as you're consistent in the game. If you're going to let everybody get manhandled, let both teams get manhandled. If you're going to call them on both sides.
We should favor the home team a little bit, and then also probably favor a team that's like down by a couple of scores. Maybe give them a little break. Maybe keep the game a little bit close, but it doesn't always work that way. So, as much as I love sports gambling, I couldn't imagine like putting a big money on it because that would just drive you crazy because you have no control over it, and there's just too much luck and too many bad calls like that. It's like, wow, they made a big play, and all of a sudden, oh, there's a flag. Oh, you're gonna take it back and give him another 10 yards.
Yeah, the play I was talking about. He threw it really deep on the right hand side, caught it. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh, that was a nice 40-yard. They're on their move. Wait, holding. Oh, doggone it. Son of a what? Yeah, now with Vegas having professional sports teams, the A's are moving over there, and the Raiders have moved over there, and the Super Bowl is going to be there this year. I'm hoping I'm going to get to go for a couple of reasons, a couple of ways. I've entered some contests to go to the Super Bowl this year, and I also hope that my Cleveland Browns will be there. Did you watch the NFL playoffs or the NFL Week 17 culmination of the regular season leading into the playoffs over the weekend? Are you looking forward to any particular matchups in the AFC or NFC now that we know who's playing who?
Oh, I am definitely a football fan. I'm also looking forward to the end of football season because I think it's taken up way too much of my time, and I look forward to doing more in the news media as opposed to betting on football and watching long 3-hour games, which is great, but it's also a distraction. And it's good that it's only kind of a few months out of the year and not the whole year. Otherwise, I wouldn't get anything done.
Well, I would give 2 pieces of advice. Number 1, once the bet's placed, you watching makes your viewership
fun to watch. Then I want to watch every play.
Nothing to do with the outcome. So you could work and then just tune in after and go, "What happened?" So I
do that sometimes, but it's more fun to watch when the game is actually on. It gives you a little bit more incentive.
It does. Or you could uninstall the gambling apps and just give it a shot. I don't know.
No, actually, I had one money. I probably bet like $10,000 this year and made like $500.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I
are you keeping track?
Around, huh?
Are you keeping track of your winnings and like? Do you have a spreadsheet like the pros do, like ups and downs and?
Yeah, I had it figured out. I mean, FanDuel actually sent me my results for the year, and it was like that. I spent like $5,000 or $6,000, but then I did come out ahead, which was not by much, but it's like, wow, I threw around thousands of dollars, but I came out ahead a few hundred. But I lost some on the MGM. I have MGM and FanDuel, and I got lucky on one and not so lucky on the other one. But overall, I was up like $500.
On FanDuel or on FanDuel and MGM?
I do not recommend that. That is coming from a guy who lived in Vegas and I've been gambling on sports for 20 years. So I'm not saying I have edge or I have a lot, but I try to minimize mistakes and not make a bunch of crazy bets. Got lucky a few times, what have you. But for the average person, you're probably going to get stung because you're not going to know what you're doing. But it is fun, and I couldn't imagine going into a casino and just sitting in front of a slot machine. That thing will take your money so fast, it's gone. But you can throw $20 on a football game, you get 3 hours of entertainment. So for me, I do like sports gambling. It's one of my big vices. But anyway, we're approaching the end of the season. Yes.
Yes. Well, let's segue into something that they do bet on. It's maybe not our number one story, but since we're talking about betting and wagering and who's going to win and who's going to be in, who's going to be out, let's start with our first topic today.
All right.
All right. Well, once again, a reminder, please leave your comments so that we can incorporate you into today's program. Yeah, they do take prop bets on this, right? Like political wagers, who's going to win primaries and who's going to win elections. And I guess all the bets get thrown out if there's foul play. It gets really wonky when you're literally gambling on humans in this way. But what do you say here, Blake? Agree or disagree that Joe Biden will drop out of the 2024 race due to poor health?
Well, I haven't seen any. They don't have these, of course, on FanDuel or MGM, but there are sports books like offshore that will take some bets like this. And I think they kind of limit it from what I remember. It's like you can only bet like $500 on, the political outcomes. That way you're not incentivizing, assassinations or something like that. That would get pretty gross. That could have some really devastating consequences. But if it's just for fun, perhaps it's not so bad. But yeah, this is an interesting story. Joe Biden, will he drop out? I'm going to say I agree. He seems to be stumbling. He's barely going to get over the finish line for his first term. I couldn't imagine him. Maybe he could make it another year. I can't see him going through a full second term and staying as is. He is declining. Everybody can see it. The writing is on the wall, and he's pretty much a puppet anyway. It's been pretty bad. They've managed to prop him up. I don't know how, at least insulated in the leftist bubble. Certainly on the other side, we're seeing all the highlights or lowlights or whatever you want to call them of all of the gaffes and things. So all of these bumblings and stumblings and mumblings. So Biden is fading. I'm not sure who they're going to put up, if it's going to be Michelle Obama or maybe Gavin Newsom. But they need somebody to energize the base, because Trump is still rolling, and they need all the help they can get. Whether it's a Trump or somebody like an outspoken Vivek Ramaswamy, it's going to be a tough race for the Democrats. So they need some star power badly. And it ain't going to be Biden or Kamala Harris. So I'll run a quick... I didn't know where you were going to start today, Brian, but I will find...
yeah, I went to this one just, like I said, because we're kind of betting on what we think is going to happen in a gambling sense.
Seems fair. That's a good segue.
Good segue, right?
Right. So here's a quick one. Here we go. We got Michelle Obama says she's terrified of Trump winning.
Terrified.
Yeah, terrified. They love having the power, and they can't imagine Trump getting back and perhaps retaliating for all of the things the leftists have done to him over the last...
I mean, there's retaliation, and then there's, there's... I don't know if retaliation is the right word, but it's like, this is what they've chosen. They have decided this is what they want.
Right.
This is their choice. Speaking of what they want, if you were a betting man, Blake, and you had $100 of free gambling, okay? Say MGM says, we're running a special. Jamie Foxx is the spokesperson, right? For MGM. Yep. And he did that Shanae character. I remember that in Living Color. Right? Wait, no, not Shanae.
Yeah, it's been a while. Oh, is that going to tie into that Cat Williams thing with all of the humiliation rituals for black actors aspiring? Yes.
I like when two words can be combined into one word. When you combine two words into one, I like saying blackters instead of black actors. Blackters. Yeah. So if you were given $100 to bet on MGM on Jamie Foxx's app, would you bet $100 that Michelle Obama will be the nominee or that she will not be the nominee?
I think it depends on the odds. Sometimes they give you those juice bets or an insured bet, so like maybe they'll give me a 33% boost on a bet, and I could take Michelle Obama, and I could put that $100 to win $300. Maybe I would. Not,
Okay, but it's let's call it a free bet. You got to place it one side or the other, left or right.
And it's just 50-50. It's $100 to win another $100. It's not like
it's just but you only get to play it by playing it. So go left or right. Would you bet that Michelle Obama will be the Democrat nominee?
Well, you got to present the bet. Like, is it Michelle Obama, Gavin Newsom, or like the field or Joe Biden?
She will be that Barack Hussein Obama's spouse will be the Democrat presidential nominee.
No, not unless I can get either juiced up odds or it had to be Michelle.
Okay, Blake, all right. Let me reset it for the fifth time. Right. It's a free bet. It's a bonus bet, but you have to place it that she will be the nominee or will not be. No odds. Just it's a free bet. No. Go ahead and place your bet. Will Obama be the Democrat nominee in 2024 when it all shakes out, when it's time to vote?
No. I'm going to say they're going to find somebody. I would play anybody else. Like if it was either just Michelle Obama or any other potential Democratic candidate, I would have to take the field on that one.
And I guess that would include Joe Biden sticking around as being marionette puppeted.
Yeah. Or he could just, as long as he can win, just like those like senators that, I'm going to get another 6-year term, but you're already 87 years old.
Right.
You have no intention of filling out your term. You're just going to do it until you can't anymore. You'll step down and then they'll put somebody else up there. So I think it'll be like that.
I read earlier today, Don Jr. called Joe Biden a Roomba wandering around the White House. It's like my favorite. Like it is so visual. He is so confused. He's like a Roomba just walking till he bumps into something. Okay, $100, yes or no? If it were Barack Hussein Obama's spouse, would that person defeat the Republican field if Trump can't run?
Michelle or Big Mike, I don't care whatever is going on there. That person that we think of as Michelle Obama is a pretty sharp lady, right? But I've never seen her in a stressful situation where she's got in a contentious type sort of debate situation. Would she be able to go toe to toe with, let's just say hypothetically, Ron DeSantis? I don't know. I've seen Ron DeSantis carry his own and absolutely pummel Gavin Newsom, who's a sharp guy. So do I think that Michelle can stand and go head to head with some of those talent with Ramaswamy? I don't know. I haven't seen enough, but I don't know if the Democrats have much choice.
So you would probably go the Democrat or the Republican field over Barack Hussein Obama.
I don't trust the integrity of the election. That's going to be the big problem. Yeah, if it was just to watch a debate, I think Ramaswamy, DeSantis, or Trump mops the floor with any of the Democrat candidates.
All right. Well, you
should win in a totally fair. If this was a same day, if this was a one election day, one ballot, voter ID, no mail in, nothing. People had to show up, show an ID, vote in person, paper ballot. I think the Republicans absolutely destroy the Democrats.
Well, I think you're teasing the next topic about non-citizens being able to vote. We'll get to that in a second. But while we're on it, and since you brought it up, okay, before we get to that, because you brought this
Brian,
up.
What do you think? Questions in reverse.
No way. I'm thinking back to you think about like the most situation. Would Barack Obama's spouse with the stressful situation be Dancing with Ellen? Would it be when the chef goes missing in a few inches of water in a pond? Would it be when old photos resurface? I don't know. No, I think Obama would get blown out in either case, against either the Republican field or against President Donald John Trump. Would you, if you had the same $100 bet, it's free, but you got to place it. Do you think Donald Trump would beat Barack Hussein Obama's spouse?
Absolutely. I don't even think it's close.
I would have questions about that. I would have a little bit of a concern that Donald Trump would still revert back to what he did during the 2020 debates. Now, that's not to say that I believe the results of what happened. By the way, go to CISA.gov/rumor control because they want you to hear countervailing views that 2020 was the only safe and secure election in America's history, despite what Democrats have told you since time immemorial, every time they've lost. I did not care for how President Donald John Trump attacked Joe Biden during the 2020 debates. If Trump would have just shut up a little bit and stayed out of his own damn way, I think he would have been in such a better position. He kept trying to bully Chris Wallace, Chris Wallace. He kept trying to bully Biden and steamroll over top of him. It's like there was no oxygen in the room for Biden to mumble and stumble. He kept talking over and kept pounding over top. I think that would play really poorly trying to yell over Obama. I think he really needs a little bit of coaching on shutting the F up, backing the hell off, and just letting bad answers marinate. Just set them up and let them bumble around and stumble around. Because once they burn through their talking points, they're stuck. They're on their own. The NPC glitch, cannot compute. I was trained to say certain things, but I cannot say more. I've seen it with Ron DeSantis. I've seen it with, Haley. I've seen her glitch out big time. Ramaswamy doesn't glitch out very much, but I think if you just let somebody who's really heavily coached, just give them more time to screw up. So, I would have questions there. Speaking about what Timothy Hanlon is putting in here as the question, $100, Blake. It's a free bet on the MGM app with Shanae giving you the advertisements on the commercials that you're seeing. Jamie Foxx, would you put $100 down that Michelle Obama is a biological, actual female with the female chromosomes, or that the person known as Michelle Obama does not have female chromosomes? Is this a story that will not go away? It keeps coming up. Every time that name is mentioned, this is the topic that follows. Every time.
Man, is there no odds? You don't give odds. You're not a Vegas guy.
$100 free bet.
Like straight up, $100 or nothing.
$100 free
not
bet.
Like $100 to win $250 or something.
Nope, not your own money.
No,
it's free money.
50-50. Man, that's a tough call, man, because I can really go either way with that. One of the great investigative journalists that has studied the Obamas, Joel Gilbert, who did write this story, or he did this documentary called Dreams from My Real Father, which he makes the case that Barack Obama is most likely the illegitimate son of Frank Marshall Davis, and that they just pinned it on this African foreign exchange student because nobody would care. And then he followed in his footsteps as a communist in Chicago. To make a long story short. But I think, from what I understand, he insists that no, this is Michelle Robinson. It's a female. But then at the same time, we've seen her dancing with Ellen, and it looks like she's got a massive penis flopping around when she's dancing. There's been a few other things where looks like she's scratching her balls. That may be. And then, of course, the Joan Rivers thing. She point blank says it's a man and then mysteriously dies during a very easy routine surgery as though they were sending a message. So I am really on the fence of that. I could take it either way. I'm just trying to look at it as the person. I'm not going to like ideologically, but I don't care whether it's a dude or trans or what have you. I think that makes it extra hilarious. I just wish they'd be open about it. But if it is a man, if that is a dude, then that's going to present a major problem having him as a president, because it's going to be very costly to keep all of that maintenance. Because there's fake pictures. There's fake pictures of Michelle with like a 5 o'clock shadow, but just the amount of maintenance that would go into trying to make her appear female would be a lot. So that could be a problem. So I don't know. I'll say that it's probably Michelle is a woman, and that there's must be some explanations, but not by much. If that was a dude, I wouldn't go, oh, come on. There's no way that's, and she's very, broad shouldered. She's big. It's possible. It's very plausible, and we've never seen pictures of her pregnant. There's a lot of weird stuff going on with the Obamas, and they're never going to get elected if Barack Obama's gay and that's a dude in disguise. So I get it, but all right. So I'll just say yes. I'll say it's a girl. Barely. That's only if you give me straight odds. But if I get extra odds for her being a dude, I'll take the odds.
Oh, okay. So if there were extra odds and incentives, you'd go ahead and you'd go for it there.
Yeah, I'll take take the extra money.
Yeah, if I were betting, back to the story, if Biden will drop out due to poor health. I mean, I don't know how you could be committing treason at the southern border on a daily basis. And no, it's going to be poor health that'll take you out. I don't see where this JP Morgan story is coming from, with his son and the corruption that they're uncovering every single day with his business dealings, his money laundering. I don't know who the nominee will be. It's been long rumored. I think Roger Stone, that there's a lot of people out there that are convinced it's going to be Obama for the 4th term. A lot of people are saying that this is the 3rd and most honest Barack Obama term, and I'm one of those people. Would he want a 4th term? Of course he would. What's the alternative? You had the quote that Obama is terrified of what could happen. I mean, why wouldn't they be terrified? All of the laws that they've broken, the coup that overthrew this nation, the scams that were ran with the intelligence agencies to try to frame President Trump, 51 intelligence officials trying to blackball and memory hole a totally legitimate story that goes to great lengths explaining how corrupt and bribed and blackmailed that Biden family could be. That is very newsworthy. That is relevant to selecting the CEO of your nation for 4 years. I mean, everybody involved, from media, lying legacy media, the social media, the intelligence officials, across the board, Blake, they are corrupt up to their elbows. She should be terrified of what could be coming next. I'm not surprised to hear that at all.
They
would
set
it be?
Yeah.
Huh?
I was gonna say they set the precedent for political persecution. They've gone after Trump and tried to destroy him, tried to make him out to be a Russian spy and colluding with the foreign superpower, and now they're trying to get him off the ballots. They're trying to accuse him of being an insurrectionist. So yeah, if I was Michelle Obama, I'd be terrified of Trump getting back in too, because it's game on. You did it to him, he's going to do it to you, and he's going to hit back 10 times harder. So they're terrified, and they will do anything it takes to make sure that he is not back in power again.
You see, and there's a bit of a difference, Blake. All the stuff that was done to Trump was unwarranted. The stuff that will be coming as retribution, as payback, if you will, that's to prosecute criminals who have abused the federal government. All of the alphabet agencies turning on Trump personally, against Republicans, against conservatives. I mean, the efforts that were taken by the federal government to silence people on the right leading up to the election. I mean, what's that phrase? 9 ways from Sunday?
6
ways from Sunday. Thank you. That the 2020 election selection was completely pushing a finger down on the scales of justice. This was not fair and balanced. It wasn't evened out. This was a lopsided pressing and standing on one side to hold up, prop up, and try to ramrod one of the most popular presidents of all time out of office. Yeah, to people that suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, they can't fathom that this is a popular president. To the people who look at the 6 states that were paused on election night with him up hundreds and 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 hundreds of thousands of votes. Yeah, that's a popular vote. That is a popular re-election. That is what some would say a landslide. By the way, go to CISA.gov/rumor control, because their countervailing views say that Joe Biden is the most popular president of all time. Listen to them. Their countervailing views, or I'm countervailing views. I digress. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it would be Obama. I mean, that chef was certainly eliminated under very suspicious circumstances. Lord only knows the conversations they were having over breakfast and lunch and dinner. Could you imagine?
Yeah, he's not there now. So
no, he's not. Almost as if you're setting the field, setting the stage to run the rest of the game. Does this article
come out of nowhere and go, Michelle's a dude? All right. I've seen it.
Could you imagine the conversations that chef heard?
Obama's the bottom.
Well, and they say Obama.
Yeah.
Bottom. They say that he was working on a book, the chef, I don't know if he was smart enough to get that into other hands, but when you're doing stuff like that, you got to have kill switches.
The title was Michelle's a dude, Barack is a bottom.
Maybe that should be the new title of today's episode. If Biden is not around, and I think he should be indicted for treason, him and Mayorkas and Harris, I think we should have President Johnson right now for the dereliction of duty at the southern border. This country is being invaded. There are a lot of foreign countries, foreign actors who are sending people here, covert missions, people who do not mean well. I am 100% convinced, and you should be too. I think they should all be impeached immediately. So I would like to see Joe Biden in prison. But let's imagine a world where he's not in prison, and for whatever reason, he's either martyred in a deep state attempt to frame a Trump supporter, or he resigns in some sort of deal like, hey, this is the only way that your brother and your son avoid prosecution here for all of your crimes. You have to step aside, and he's strong-armed out of it. I don't know. Would it be Gavin Newsom? Would it be Kamala Harris? I couldn't imagine Kamala Harris, but I couldn't imagine her wanting to walk away either. She's just so incompetent. I don't think she really has a base to fire up for her on her behalf,
I think people would be freaking out. I don't think that the Democrats and the media and all the handlers would be able to prop her up the way like they could with Joe.
I felt the same with Joe, though. There was no way he could get across the finish line.
I know.
So I don't know. Okay, anything else we want?
Kamala as the president, like meeting with all the foreign leaders.
Oh my
She'd just
God.
be like bursting into these weird laughter. Yeah, no, she's not qualified. It's
acting as if she's drunk or on pills all day. Day.
Yeah, that's what it does seem like. Yes, she does a little bit of day drinking, which is
from a Pelosi cabinet. Yeah, she's dipping into the Pelosi stash. It's a little bit less alcohol, a little bit more pills. Well, what did Trump say, that she speaks in nursery rhymes? We went to the bus, and the bus goes around and around, and therefore we all love the bus. Something like that. You're like, oh my gosh, it's nursery rhymes. You got the nursery rhyme candidate, you got the Roomba candidate, and then you got the Austin Powers candidate. I don't know. Anyway, anything else you want to cover in this article about Biden dropping out? Did it give you any more insight into this? I mean,
I think it's stuff we've already covered many times. We know that his health is fading mentally, physically, and he's probably not going to make it another 4 years. So it's what point is he going to drop out and give another candidate enough time to get into the campaign?
They're out of time, man. Like, and they're already rigging their primaries, and they're completely out of time. I don't know what they're supposed to do to get Gavin Newsom in there. Like, how quick? Like, don't you need to vote on that? Like, the primaries are coming up immediately.
Maybe they were testing him with that debate against Ronnie D, but they realized that, yes, he's very slick, but he's a liar, and California is a shithole.
Yes.
And people aren't going to buy it.
And notice that Fox is in on the rigging of it. They hate Trump since they put Chris Matthews up to lie about him with the fine people hoax during the last debate. I'll never forgive him for that. Like, Fox lost me.
Brian said fine people hoax. Drink, everybody.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing? It's a hoax, and it's so stupid. And they keep.
I hear you.
Like, anybody that's that intellectually dishonest, like, they're dead to me. Like, I'm done. I wash my hands of them, and they're clowns.
Done. We went to CNN Plus, and now I don't know what he's doing. What is has anybody checked in on Chris Wallace lately?
He's rubbing together his 40 pieces of silver. I'm like, maybe, 6 sheets to the wind, 40 pieces. I'm like, all my numbers today. He's rubbing his pieces of silver together, that greedy little twerp. Okay, next topic. All right, so yes, we will be getting into the Ray Epps story, our number one story, in just a second, but connected to the Joe Biden dropping out of the 2024 race due to poor health story, it's connected to this, Blake. You said, you're not entirely sold on the legitimacy and the validity of the upcoming election based on reasons. So do you agree or disagree that non-citizens should be able to vote, but only federally?
Yeah, I think that's a fair trade-off. Oh, no, okay, no, I don't. I think it's unbelievable that, yes, you tweeted that out. It's actually from Elon.
Yeah.
He put out the alarm. He's been he's been highlighting some very important stories. So let me find this one. Of course, it's in Arizona. No big surprise. It says Arizona clearly states that no proof of citizenship is required for federal elections. And this is something that somebody reported that they had received in Arizona just the other day, a proof of citizen requirement. This is the thing that we're kind of fearing with all this open border. Are they going to allow these people to vote? So to be eligible, you have to vote a full ballot. You must submit proof of citizenship, blah, blah, blah. But if you do not submit proof of citizenship, and we cannot acquire your proof of citizenship from the Arizona the DMV or statewide voter registration, you will receive a federal-only ballot.
What in the world, dude?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they're going to green light some kind of expedited way to let all of these people vote somehow, some way. If not, it'll be ballot manufacturing, or they'll find some way to get these ballots in the mail, and they're not going to check the signatures or whatever, as long as they get the vote that they want, the candidates that they want. But they're saying here you will. So you'll get a federal-only ballot, which has only federal races and no state, county, or local races. So that could mean you could swing the presidential election, which is the most important.
So where is and who? All right. So a couple points here. Number one, it is possible that what Elon tweeted out is incorrect, right? It could be inaccurate and it could be subject to community notes. This could be incorrect.
Yeah, so far there is no community notes, and I can refresh this page to see if anything has been added. No, there is not. So
okay, so let me start off by.
Oh, there's Kerry Lake War Room. These kinds of things happen when a former cartel lawyer is in charge of your state's elections. Oh yes, and there is a lot of fear that Arizona is being controlled by the cartels.
So
they love that open border.
So number one.
Yeah.
Is the information that Elon tweeted out and Kerry Lake commented on accurate? Okay, let's for the sake of this conversation assume that it is. With the caveat, it's perhaps inaccurate, and if it's inaccurate, we can change our sentiments on it. Okay, set that aside, and let's operate as if this are true. And by the way, nobody loves bashing Elon, catching him in something that's not entirely accurate than a lot of the people who have community notes abilities. So if he put it out and it's incorrect, you feel like that would have been discovered by now, because busting Elon's one of the funniest things to a lefty or just to anyone who likes the truth, really. So now I tagged the Supreme Court and Supreme Court blog and all the Supreme Court tags I could locate. There needs to be a lawsuit, Blake, from every other state because they're disenfranchising their federal vote by allowing a non-citizen to vote. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, this has to be. This is a major process here for citizens to be able to vote in their elections and have integrity. So if we're going to bring in a bunch of non-citizens, flooding the border, millions of people, and even if they said no, you can't, but you can still vote federally, that can absolutely swing the election. I think that's one of the things that they would do if they could get away with it. And this might be a way of them trying to get away with this.
Pretty incredible. And the other thing you want to think about with these 15 million or so people who have invaded this country illegally, some of them might be great people, but you know what? I don't take too kindly to people breaking in. I'm not a big fan of that. Neither would you be if somebody broke into your house or your state or your country. Or your kid's school, or just anywhere, your place of work, your
neighborhood, your community, school, office, right?
At your gym, in your locker room. Nobody wants to be broken in on. So 15 million people allegedly, or perhaps even more, who have broken in. I'm not a big fan of that. Now, think about what's happening is several things. You're trying to take a red state and turn it purple. You're trying to take a purple state and turn it red. You're trying to take a red state. And here's the part that I really kind of wanted to rethink it. Whether these people can vote or not, because there's no way on earth. If you're not a shareholder, you don't get a vote. If you're not on the Hall of Fame committee, you don't get to vote on the Hall of Fame participants. Like there are qualifications to vote, and you clearly don't meet them, especially since you broke in and broke the damn law doing it. Now, think of, Blake, how many people in a mass exodus have fled New York, New Jersey, California, fill in the blanks. There's probably several other places, Washington, all these crazy lefty places where people don't want to live, where it's squalor in the streets, it's hypodermic needles and human fecal matter. It's homeless encampments and junkies and hookers and violence and thieves and just crime and filth and gangs and trouble and all sorts of stuff. The people that fled to get out of there, what do you have? You have red people who fled, the red who fled. Ooh, there's a book title. So the red who fled are going to contaminate the purple or blue areas that they went to if they didn't go to another red state. And like they say, don't California my Texas. Don't California my Tennessee. Don't come here with your shitty voting that ruined your great state, and don't ruin my state here. Don't bring your crappy voting. Also, you have people that fled who were blue or, unaffiliated, just common sense. They don't like the Republicans, but the Democrats, they can clearly see the writing on the wall. They're ruining the state that they left. So in the absence of all of those millions of people who fled California, New York, New Jersey, etc., this really is just a replacement theory for the people that these lousy states ran away. I mean, I guess we all knew that. But just thinking about the fact that they were going to lose representation in Congress if their population decreases too much, I think there's another Supreme Court case that needs to be made immediately to qualify how you count residents in your state for congressional seat purposes. Have you given any thought to this, Blake? Because if you're putting 5 million extra people in, you're claiming on your census, well, we have all these people. Well, these are not citizens, and you don't get congressional votes because you've allowed people to sneak into the country illegally. What say you on that point?
It's more than just the census, right? So they're not going to do it again for a while. So I don't know if they're going to. This says I wish they could make a law that to ensure voting integrity. That these have to be citizens. These people have to live here at least minimum 5 years,
10, 20 years.
Yeah, maybe even longer.
Years.
I would like to see them, raise the voting age at least back to 21 again. Yeah, but they seem to find every loophole, clean the voter rolls every year. They don't want to do that. They don't want to have integrity because ends justify the means. They want to win elections. They want to be in power. So they will find every loophole possible and exploit it. And that's very dangerous. And so, yeah, it'd be great if they could, write that in somewhere. I just don't think it's going to happen. And that's going to be a problem. They're still going to have the mail-in ballots. They're still not going to check signatures. They're going to they have big ballot harvesting operations. And if they let stuff like this slide where, well, maybe if you don't show an ID, but you can vote federally, just not, along the locals in the states. That's also very problematic. So that should not happen. Beyond problematic. We have no country if we don't defend the sovereignty of this country. And what the WHO is trying to push through, I saw the I think it's Eric Weinstein with Tucker Carlson interview with what the WHO is trying to put forth and how they're lying about it, that each nation is going to keep their sovereignty. Individual national sovereignty is the number one issue of importance these days, Blake. I don't know how else to say it, but like we're losing what it is that used to make this country theoretically awesome. They want to topple statues and rename everything and erase history. I don't. You learn from history, you learn from the good, you learn from the bad. But there's not one homogenous group of people. Not everybody shares the same history and upbringing and lessons and values. I don't want a blended world where everybody is just a global citizen, because then it's just you're just under the thumb, the auspices of the new world order. It's one king, it's one potentate,
It's one ruler. I like a lot of different rulers who are local, and if they're terrible, they can be replaced. That's how you keep things honest. That's how you keep a government that actually gives half a shit for the people. But we're being assaulted from every angle imaginable at this point. So, yeah, it's something to consider, these non-citizens. And we need to have Republicans sue Arizona immediately. We need the Supreme Court to fast track this. There is no way that an illegal alien should be voting in any local or national, especially national. How about especially both? If you're not here legal, I couldn't just sneak into Mexico and then I demand this. I want that person out and I want this person in. Who gives a shit what I think? I don't belong there. I'm not from there. I didn't pay my dues. I didn't prove that I'm going to be a net positive to that community. They haven't accepted me and granted me the right to vote. I mean, just we're living in a cuckoo clock, Blake. I just don't know how much longer we have if the Supreme Court doesn't get involved and the other red governors of these states don't start doing things immediately. Like I said, if what Elon shared is 100% accurate and verifiably true, to stop this stuff, or else I don't think we're going to have much.
No, it's over. Yeah, it's over. They're going to let these guys vote, and these people are going to have kids, and they're going to be American citizens. And in 10, 20 years, you're not even going to recognize this country anymore. So
that sounds like a replacement theory that
the replacement
media denies is happening, even though Mayorkas and Biden are on camera bragging about it.
Right. They're not even like media people. They're not there to, find out the truth or do investigative journalism. They just do what they're told.
Yeah. Hackies, lacks, and slackers. What'd you call it?
Hacks, flacks, and lackeys. Yep.
Say it again.
Hacks, flacks, and lackeys.
Flax. I always get screwed up on the flax. Hacks, flax, and lackeys. Okay. Yeah. All right. Next topic. We're going to get to our number one topic of the day, Ray Epps.
Yay.
Here's your reminder to smash the like button and subscribe and hit the little heart button or the 100 button or the confetti button and do all of the things that you can. Subscribe to the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show wherever fine content is made. Also follow Blake on X. He's at TV's Blake Walley and his website, thenextlevelnews.com. I need to stop singing that because I'm like giving an advertisement to, what is that? Not Wikipedia, Expedia. That's what it is. Okay, Blake, agree or disagree that Ray Epps only deserves probation, but not jail time? Agree or disagree?
You know what? I would make that deal as long as it sets the precedent, and then that would mean so many of the innocent J6ers would therefore be like, they'd be let out. They'd be like, sorry, guys, we overcharge you. In fact, they should be compensated for their time for going through the hellacious conditions of the DC gulag. So I think that's a deal. Does it sound fair? But otherwise, it's a total double standard, and it's just being thrown in our face. It's unbelievable. So this just broke, and this is in the last couple hours. So let's pull up this story. Got breaking: Ray Epps sentenced, no jail time, 1 year probation, a $500 fine, and 100 hours of community service. So the most well-known, obvious insurrection skates. The two-tiered justice is no justice. We've long suspected this guy is an operative, the only J6 protester who actually told people to go into the Capitol. We got to go into the Capitol. That's where our problems are. Multiple times on camera in a few different locations, and as well as being up there. When Trump was making his speech, he was at the Capitol grounds, moving barriers, getting people to follow him. There was another part where he was, they had like using like a big flag, framed flag as like a battering ram. I mean, this guy was the most obvious instigator. And we've long suspected he was a Fed, and there he goes, no jail time. So that seems to really confirm what we've long suspected, that he is being protected because he is some sort of confidential human informant. And so they don't jail their own people. But they will make examples of, grandma who innocently walked into a Capitol, even though she was let in, had no idea, didn't cause any problems, but they're going to go after her. So the Biden regime refused to charge Epps, even with hurling a sign at police when 8 others are rotting in prison, rotting in prison today for just touching the sign. Ray Epps steered it towards the police and hurled it at them, but he's free. The government is broken. We already knew. Oh, here it is. That's him. He's helping push this barricade towards police. There's so many different pictures and videos of Ray Epps clearly, towering over people and then guiding them in there. Very, yes, he's the leader. He's telling people to go not even just towards the Capitol, into the Capitol. That's where our problems are. Here he is again. This is this big framed flag that they were. Here we go. I can. Slowing it down.
It's like a battering ram, huh?
Yep. Using it as a battering ram.
The Jesus Save sign at the top.
Yep. He's encouraging the peaceful protesters pushing violence, and there's so many videos. We won't even get into them. I don't even have them all, but it's just it's crazy the double standard. And then there's also a lot of great investigative journalism done by I think Revolver.news. Darren Beatty, he was just in a debate recently, but they've been doing some excellent coverage, and he's one of the people that kind of exposed not only Ray Epps but other people who look like informants. They've given numbers anywhere from dozens to maybe 200 feds that were dressed up as Trump supporters that were mainly the provocateurs and instigators of the violence, but they also have police that were, shooting flashbangs into the crowd, getting people riled up, tear gas. And it presented a lot of problems. Like they wanted something to happen. No, it can't have the National Guard, which were right there. Could have been very easily. They could have surrounded that entire area. Nothing would have happened. There would have been no violence whatsoever. But it's as though this whole thing was staged. It was a big trap, and that Trump supporters walked into, and then their informants are getting, slapped on the wrist. Well, yes, peaceful people that walked into the Capitol were thrown into a gulag for years. In fact, they were bragging it's going to be 840 years, I think. Joe Biden made a speech. Let's see, I just removed this. Let me pull this back in if I can get my share screen back on. So... got the this is also an interesting angle. This was before Ray Epps got the word. The sentencing hearing today was changed to a secretive Zoom hearing after the Gateway pundit received a tip.
What?
Yeah, there was a D.C. kangaroo court. They broke breaking the law by hiding the sentencing from the public. This is unconstitutional. So D.C. Kangaroo Court suddenly changed their Ray Epps in person. He was supposed to show up at 10 a.m. at this courthouse, E. Barrett Prettyman in Washington, D.C. for his sentencing, according to the court docket. The hearing was modified to a hybrid hearing, which is a in-person, and the defense shows up on Zoom. So Epps was sued. I guess they were going to serve him. He's being sued by a J6 defendant, Eric Clark, for a conspiracy to violate civil rights, but somewhere it got tipped off. And then that's when they decided, we're not going to have him in person. We'll just do this over Zoom. It was done on video. It was all discussed yesterday in private phone calls. So, and then, of course, now he's not being charged. He's not going to jail. He's just getting probation and a small fine, and of course, some community service. Big deal.
In that chat, without, I was having a conversation with somebody who's very familiar with all of this, and they did not think, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but like my obvious conclusion about Ray Epps being connected, a Fed,
an informant, a Fed, whatever. Yeah,
whatever you want to call him, he was clearly one of the lead instigators on the entire day, videoed, and it wasn't just one
the
day,
most prominent,
multiple,
besides maybe the
most prominent.
right, besides like the Buffalo guy.
Yeah, you got him. I mean, but like he was nonviolent.
Right.
Ray Epps was pushing, like he was doing way more. The
Buffalo guy didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah,
he just walked around.
Right. Yeah, and he was very respectful of the law enforcement that were there. Is this okay? Can I go in here? Do you mind if I hang here? He was very polite about it. He even told people to go home. They have that video.
He prayed for them and thanked them.
Yes. Sorry, I can't think of his name for whatever reason. It's escaped me. Drawing a blank, but
I had Jacob something.
Yeah, Chansley.
Chansley,
yes, good call.
But I had this conversation with someone very familiar with J6, and they just didn't see that Ray Epps was a big deal. It wasn't a big story. It's not like proven that he's a Fed. I'm like, are you watching the same thing I'm watching? Like, in what universe are you living? Like, this is the most obvious. And look, a lot of what we do as pundits and news commentators, a lot of it's instinct, I guess. It's like, how do you prove something that you can't quite prove? How do you prove God is real or God is not real? Actually, there's a really great skit on that. I put it in the TNAM humor group on Facebook. What's that comedian's name? That white guy. I can see him.
Jim Gaffigan?
Nope, the other one. Goofy lips, kind of.
Bill Burr.
No, not him either. Anyway, but like he has this bit on God about how atheists are convinced, like with the Big Bang Theory, there's no God. See, nothing created everything.
Jim Brewer?
Okay. Nope, not him. But then when you die, what happens? Well, there's no afterlife. You just die and nothing happens. So you say nothing created everything, and when you die, you go back to nothing. So you mean you're brought from the source and you're returned to the source when you die? Sounds a lot like God to me. It was a really incredible kind of loop around to kind of reframe this whole atheistic argument. But a lot of what we do in the absence of having the proof that, yes, I can prove God is real and I can prove God is not. It's like, you can't prove either. You have a hunch, you have an instinct. It's just, but at some point it becomes insurmountable, the amount of evidence that you have to kind of say, look, there's something. Maybe I can't exactly tell you it's this, it's that. I can't tell you Ray Epps was FBI or NSA or CIA or I don't know exactly what, and I don't know exactly how, but it's fucking crystal clear that this dude was given the wrist slap. By the way, in my commentary to this person, I said, remember, they weren't even going to charge Ray Epps with a single thing until the public backlash with MGT or MTG and Tucker and all of these other, they were going to let Ray Epps completely skate. The response that I got back from this person was, well, remember, Ray Epps went in immediately, like a day after J6, and gave them all the information that they wanted. He volunteered and gave them.
Yeah, he's an informant. He had to give them all the information, everything that he saw. Rat everybody out, and then he got a special deal. And I think that was behind closed doors, if I remember right.
Yeah. But like, this person didn't understand like how that stinks to high heaven. How that's not evidence of complete malfeasance. And yes, Mariel Bowser and Nancy Pelosi and the Capitol Security, they all turned down repeated Trump requests to have the National Guard there. And then when Trump goes on Twitter to say, hey, guys, you need to be respectful of law enforcement. Violence is not this is not what we're here to do. They shut his account down and banned him because they were busy framing him. This is the most obvious setup in the history of setups. All you got to do is look. So I don't know what we're supposed to do with this Ray Epps story, but he's skating with nothing, Blake. He's skating with nothing.
Yeah.
100 hours community service. You want to make another $100 free bet whether he serves those 100 community hours or not? I put $100 that he doesn't go anywhere near any actual labor or picking up trash on a freeway. This guy is as corrupt as it comes. This system is corrupt as it gets.
Yep, I'll give you the over-under of 50 hours. Do you think he served?
Under.
Okay.
Under. And if there's anything else that goes above 50, it's going to be clerical. It'll be clerical only. It will not be legitimately cleaning up graffiti from underpasses. This guy, my God, I don't even know what to say about him. All right. Anything else to say about Ray Epps? I'm at a loss for words at how absolutely corrupt this government has become under Joe Biden, Barack Hussein Obama's third and most honest term. We're so close to losing this entire country, Blake.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say here.
I don't blame you. It's shocking every day, and it's the double standard. It's right in our face, and it's clearly we've been taken over. The country's been taken from us.
It's a coup.
Yep,
it's been an overthrow.
Okay,
anything else to add about Ray Epps?
Nope. He's a lucky man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So lucky. Okay, next topic. Super lucky man, Blake. Follow Blake. He's at TV's Blake Walley on X. Okay, Blake, agree or disagree that even passive J6 protesters are also guilty of disorderly conduct? Would you agree or disagree that passive J6 protesters are guilty of disorderly conduct?
This is another double standard thing. No, I mean it's crazy. This is the Orwellian doublespeak by this administration. It's hit a new level. So let's pull up a new story here. How about, here we go. It's out of the Information Liberation. So passive J6 protesters can now be convicted of disorderly conduct. That's a ruling by an appeals court, but not by Ray Epps, of course, except for him. So rioters, that's according to The Hill, were passive during the January 6th on the Capitol, can be convicted of disorderly conduct. The case focused on one rioter, Russell Alford, who received a year-long sentence for his role in the insurrection. He was attempting to challenge the reasonableness of his sentence and the sufficiency of the evidence to support two of his convictions, both of which charged him with engaging in disorderly or disruptive conduct. And speaking of comedians, here's Norm Macdonald, the late great, one of his last tweets from January 6th. This is a 1 year anniversary of January 6th. He says, "They loved when the violent terrorists made sure to respect the velvet ropes in Statuary Hall." Could you imagine if these were all Antifa people and they were in there? Do you think that they would have, been peacefully walked through the Capitol without harming anything? I doubt it.
Can we talk about the double standard there, Blake? It's just absurd.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, for a year straight, you had the Democrat Party encouraging violence everywhere you could think of. Condoning it, raising money to get people out of jail. District attorneys of the big blue cities letting people go. No charges. They should have been thrown in the gulag. People that actually earned it. How many deaths? How many lives were lost because of the BLM riots? A lot, Blake.
Right.
And these people all skate away because it's all part of their plan to make President Trump look bad and make Republicans look bad and to try to galvanize a force to vote against Trump and vote for Biden. But then when you have a double standard, you have no standard. You have no rule of law. And that's what they've lost. That's what they've sacrificed to get to this point, Blake.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not over. We've got another article here. U.S. attorney suggesting the Department of Justice will expand the prosecution of J6 protesters who did not enter Capitol. So it's still this ongoing chilling. So they've already made examples of all the people that walked in there, had no idea it was a restricted area, weren't warned, were let in. They didn't harm anything, but they were still punished severely for it. Now you've got D.C. U.S. Attorney Matthew is giving a speech suggesting the DOJ is preparing to prosecute more Americans for protesting outside the Capitol. It's from the Post Millennial, said if they were on restricted Capitol grounds and had not gone in the building, would have committed a federal crime. So we have used our prosecutorial discretion to primarily focus on those who entered the building or those who engaged in violent or corrupt conduct on Capitol grounds. Now, that's what they should do. Anybody who is assaulting police, or if they vandalized anything, and on it, those are sacred grounds. It's the people's house. So if anybody went in there and broke something or damaged anything, they should be punished. I'm totally on board with that. Or again, hurting security, hurting police officers, anything like that, committing violence. Those are the people they should focus on, and that's it. But, or maybe they get a slap on the wrist, a small fine, a misdemeanor, or a little bit of community service, something like that. That's totally fair game. But
probation, don't do it again. Now you're, you got a mark against you. But yeah, this completely heavy-handed overreaction to how Pelosi framed all the Trump supporters that day. It's clearly jumped the shark, as they say.
And yeah, it's double standard. Here's Owen Schroyer, who just got out of the gulag, was saying, make no mistake, if you're a Trump supporter or any right-wing anti-establishment candidate, you have no First Amendment rights. You will be charged and incarcerated for speaking, reporting, or protesting. And then you've got Biden on Friday boasting about how pro-Trump protesters sentenced to 840 years in prison as a collective. This is chilling. Well, let's check this one out.
One desperate act available to him: the violence of January the 6th. And since that day, more than 1,200 people have been charged for their assault on the Capitol. Nearly 900 of them have been convicted or pled guilty. Collectively, to date, they have been sentenced to more than 840 years in prison.
What do people cheer about? 800? Like these are Americans, and a lot of them are innocent. I don't get that. We're such a cutthroat society of like people, celebrating people getting just thrown into a cage for years of their lives.
Yeah. What's Trump done? Instead of calling them criminals, he's called these insurrectionists patriots.
The British government back in the day would have also, they would not have referred to the forefathers as patriots. They would have been terrorists committing treason, and they would have locked them up as well. So let's put this into perspective here.
They're patriots. And he promised to pardon them if he returns to office. Trump said that there was a lot of love on January the 6th. The rest of the nation, including law enforcement, saw a lot of hate and violence. One Capitol Police
they were the ones that were causing
officer called it a medieval battle.
Well, that's right. There's a great report that Ben Swan they put out. Lara Logan is another one of the innocent protesters, lady from Minnesota who was assaulted. She got trapped inside that hallway with all of the riot cops, and she was beaten with a baton over and over. And they're showing it's police brutality. She didn't do anything. She just happened to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. She was calling for peace, and she just ended up getting stuck in there. And they were beating her. And then they've covered it up. They won't allow her to go after these police officers that were committing violence against innocent people. So it's pretty sick stuff here. You know what else?
That same officer was called vile racist names.
Oh, that's right. That one, the black officer who was in Congress. He was crying about it, with zero evidence, zero video proof. Just claiming that some of these J6 people were actually, throwing the N-word at him, huge racial slurs. It was such BS. Wish I had that clip because it was laughable. But I know.
And the other laughable part, do you see who's that nerdy looking guy on MSN? That narrows it down, doesn't it?
Oh, Chris, the guy looks like Maddow, whatever.
No, black dude. Nerdy glasses. He was crying the other day about January 6th.
Oh, I think that was Jonathan Capehart, Washington Post. Is that him?
Maybe. nerdy looking dude.
Yeah,
He's crying about it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's weird how they make it. Yeah, like I don't know, crying and acting like they're victims. It's pretty sad. Even though, why would he have been in any danger? So it makes no sense. Not like it was an actual armed insurrection, which would be completely different if there were just, pissed off Trump supporters coming in there for a coup and everybody was armed. Yeah, that would be pretty scary. I mean, yeah, it was.
I mean, you had what? You had roughly 700,000 people go to D.C. to hear President Trump speak, and
still had massive
to go
crowds.
Make their voices heard.
Right.
It's just like how, what do you say the drinking game is? If I say that Fox had the fine people hoax,
right?
Because it's just a hoax.
Right.
Trump never said that bad people were fine people, and anyone that repeats it is intentionally, intellectually dishonest. Anybody that refers to this with the I word is just a clown. You need to dab on the white makeup, put the fuzzy hair on, the circular red nose. They're just clowns, and they need to be treated like clowns. If 700,000 Trump supporters descended on DC and were given marching orders, I guarantee you that day would have been very different. And then maybe the I word could be used if you didn't think that the I word happened on November 3rd. Because these are people that said that the country was just stolen from us. That's what these people would have been saying. The country was stolen. We need to go make our voices heard, is what they would say. Insurrection? No. Trump supporters, how many on average firearms do you think a Trump supporter owns? On average. We're not talking about the soy boys that vote for like Gavin Newsom or, the Justin Trudeau, Washington state people. We're talking about like the Trump supporter. On average.
How about 1.8? I don't know. It could be more than that.
I would take the over.
Okay.
I would take the over. There was not a single shot fired from a Trump supporter that day.
Right.
So spare me your revisionist history trying to frame President Trump and his supporters as insurrectionists when not a single shot was fired. The only shot was fired from a man of a different race who shot and killed an unarmed veteran mother. That was the only shot fired that day.
He's getting sued by the family. Good.
It's about damn time. Why didn't that guy face trial? There's no reasonable, there is no reason why Kyle Rittenhouse should have been dragged into court, facing charges for defending his life. That should have never happened. The video evidence, once you had a chance to put the pieces together, crystal clear this was self-defense on 3 separate occasions. Remarkable trigger discipline on top of it. He should not have had to go through that trial. But you're telling me the man of a different race who killed that unarmed veteran mother in cold blood shouldn't at least stand trial? He deserved to stand trial. And he never did. He never did. That's the justice.
Well, he will. He'll get his day in court if he's getting sued and they're going through with that. So we'll see how that plays out.
We'll see how that plays out. All right, what's this Tucker clip here?
I'm not going to show any of the clips, but I'll just show this is there was an interview with Tucker talking about what happened. As Representative Higgins says, there's at least 200, he thinks, or up to 200 informants, feds, military, whoever, that were luring Trump supporters into the Capitol.
Okay, better yet, if you take the over under on 200, Blake.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll take the over.
I'm taking the over. Easy. I'll double down. I'll double my bet on over.
Yeah, it's at least 200, and then
Easy.
whatever department they're with, whether they're feds or who knows, or just informants, what have you. With that many people that were out there, undercover police. I'm sure they were fully staffed. They knew exactly the kind of numbers that were coming in there, and so you better believe they had intelligence all over that place, knowing exactly what was going on in real time. So,
okay.
However channels they had.
You're not going to play this clip? Okay.
No, I'm not going to play any clips. I just wanted to show that.
Okay.
Anyways, Higgins estimates that at least 200 FBI assets were operating in the crowd of Trump supporters at the Capitol on January 6th. There were
And who was Higgins
plainclothes
again?
militants. What's that? Well,
Who's
let's go
Higgins?
back here. Michael Waller at the Center for Security Policy, specializing in propaganda, political warfare, psychological warfare, and subversion, said he was at the Capitol on January 6th and witnessed plainclothes militants. They got agents provocateurs, fake Trump protesters, and then disciplined uniformed column of attackers. Antifa terrorists were also infiltrated the Capitol protests. So, yes, there's also the FBI agent saying, or at least one busload of Antifa thugs infiltrated peaceful Trump demonstrators as part of false flag ops. So they knew what was coming, and they wanted this to happen. And if they didn't, then they would have just had the National Guard there, which could have very easily been done. But they wanted things to happen, and they wanted it to be a lot worse, and then they could throw that insurrection word out there. But they're doing it anyway, even though it wasn't anywhere near, it wasn't even close to a real insurrection. But they keep throwing, that's what they wanted.
It's not even close to fitting the definition of it. You remember when we were on that platform and that flag came over top, the massive American flag, and what they were screaming behind was, "If you're not going inside, get the hell out of the way." They were all dressed the same. They all had the brown boots, the khaki pants, the light blue shirts. I mean, these were uniformed people.
Patriot Front.
It was all a setup, dude. It was all a setup. And anyone with eyes can clearly tell that. Okay, anything else on this one?
I'll just say even Attorney General Bill Barr was a major letdown, says the Department of Justice has cast their net far too broadly going after January 6th protesters. But I think it's, for the election, that's why they've got to frame this whole thing, is that, Trump people are bad. They tried to do an insurrection. And if they can keep jailing people, even though they're innocent, it gives them the illusion. It gives like the average voter out there who barely pays attention the illusion that, then these Trump people must be bad because they keep arresting their supporters. So I think that's what the angle they're going for, is to try to throw Trump in jail and patriots in jail and spin that narrative. Oh, and you know what is one of my favorite? I only watch like a couple of TV shows. But I love Fargo, and I don't want to be a spoiler. So, turn this off if you're a Fargo fan, but it's still on episode 8. I think they got episode 9 and 10 coming up, but I see the way that they're framing season 5, where it's going to be a constitutional sheriff as like the bad guy and that the feds are the good guys. That's the way they are framing this right now. So this is coming true to fruition as we speak. Yes. So much as I love the show, but there's some clever propaganda going around. So we have to be very careful. But what else do we have? I'll do a quick one on George Stephanopoulos interviewing Nancy Pelosi when he asks her about the insurrection and the meaning of the 14th Amendment. Or do we want to go to I think there was another caption that we had on the questions of whether
inciting an insurrection should invalidate candidates.
Yeah, or should I quickly, Brian, did you get a chance to watch any of this debate? Zero Hedge had their second debate. The first one was where comedian Dave Smith mopped the floor with Laura Loomer over the Zionism and the Israel-Palestine. But the second debate that they had was very clever. This is actually this is your sworn enemy. This is the Krasensteins.
I'm getting a lot of love on Instagram. I made a comment about these propagandists, and just everybody's loving whatever I typed about that.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I watched enough to watch these guys. Yeah. Did you have a particular clip you wanted to play?
No, this is a 3-hour ordeal, and I've only seen about 25 minutes of it. And, I appreciate these guys because I do want to see these sorts of events. It's very important that we have a civil discourse on some of these hot topics. But it was interesting, yes, to see the Krasns. It gets a bit of annoying at times with some of these characters, and even with Alex Jones, because he just cannot, just sit still and without, I got to jump in and I got to interrupt. I got to interrupt, and I got to blah, 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 just like, okay, just chill out. Let's let everybody finish their points. But yeah, you had both the Krasentine twins. I don't know if you've seen them before, but they've shown up for a few debates. So I'll give them props for actually being willing to debate, because most of them do not. Most of the leftists do not want to engage with these sorts of things. They like to sit in their bubbles. Tim Pool has pointed this out, and those guys have been on his show before too. And even though they look like buffoons, at least they're, having that discussion, because people need to see that stuff. And it takes balls to get up on the stage and be able to do that, regardless of whether you win or lose. But this could have been great just to see, Glenn Greenwald is really fantastic here. So it's good to watch him anyway. So I would encourage this one. People to go check out.
Let me show you.
Which then adds.
All right, here we go.
Does is he pushes these conspiracy theories, these ideas that illegal aliens were voting. There's no evidence of that.
I think what the illegal alien voting thing is, what's happening is they're coming in and then they're being counted in the census, which then adds more electoral votes.
Okay.
It gives more congressional districts.
That's fair. That might be happening. I haven't researched
There are indictments all over the country.
There are
indictments of illegals everywhere voting. Got them again. Hit them hard. Hit them hard.
They're not voting.
They're not
Alex,
voting.
that's a conspiracy theory.
two people.
Oh, no, a bunch of cities have passed laws where illegal aliens can vote.
No, they haven't. No,
Not in the federal election.
No, but the illegals are voting in elections, though?
Not in the federal ones. So I know that some cities try to have them voting in like local matters. I don't know how many of those are successful.
illegal aliens shouldn't be voting, okay? But they're not. They're not voting in federal elections.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know why you would
They
care.
are
Why
not.
would you even
That's a
care?
conspiracy
I don't know
theory,
why you would
Alex.
care about
There are going to be 100 million views of you guys. X is going to eat you guys
I'm
alive.
glad. I can't wait for it.
I don't know.
Alex does is he
Why you would even care?
he's like,
Why
those
you
guys
would
have been on
even
the
care?
before, too. Evidence of that.
No, it's unbelievable. There's not a lot of, independent thought there. They just kind of go along with whatever, MSNBC or Media Matters or the DNC, whoever they're getting the talking points from, and they just parrot them as they must be facts. So I'll go up there and argue those points. But yeah, they get blown up by Alex Jones, or Glenn Greenwald is fantastic as a very calm debater with all of his facts in a row, and he can absolutely lay out his case and make a great argument that they can't defend, and they're just constantly trying to spin things because they want to believe that it's an insurrection, and it's the worst thing since the Civil War, and that Trump supporters are bad.
These people, just the more they lie, the more they got to double down on it, and they think if they repeat it enough that people are going to believe them. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. It does the exact opposite. It makes me really resent. And forever I can understand if somebody makes an honest mistake. I can't forgive when people are knowingly pushing propaganda. And that's what I said in the comment here. I said, Alex is right. These propagandists apologizing for treason are exposed. And people seem to really resonate with that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So yeah, I saw that one clip of this debate, but it does look interesting. Did you have something else on this topic as well?
No, we can just do like a lightning round in the next one with the other insurrection thing.
Yeah, I already got that one pulled up. If you wanted to,
Oh,
I had
okay.
inciting an insurrection should invalidate candidates. Agree or disagree?
I agree. Yes, if this was an actual insurrection, if some candidates say, "Hey, everybody, get your guns and go over to DC, and we're gonna overthrow everything," whether it happens or not, you should be disqualified from running for president.
So does that count for when the Democrats get blown out in this election and they do that?
Yeah, if they do that, then yes, that would disqualify them from running in the future. If they
they do that.
Yeah. So yes, there's a reason why that's in there. That's part of a clause, but they're trying to make it sound like Trump was actually in an insurrection, but it wasn't. Peacefully and patriotically, and a peaceful protest and a gathering in DC, and without firearms or anything like that. No, it's not an insurrection, no matter how many times they say it. So they can't charge people with that and use that as a reason to remove him from the ballot. There was even a little pushback by let's look at Stephanopoulos and Nanny State Nancy Pelosi.
If you believe he engaged in insurrection under the plain meaning of the 14th Amendment, you believe he's ineligible to be president.
Those laws, those are up to the states. They have different laws from state to state. I don't think he should ever have been
the Constitution.
president. But nonetheless, there is a view of the Constitution and Article 14, Section 3, that he should not be able to run for president. But that's not the point. The point now is that, again, different states have different laws. We don't think in California that it applied in our state. That's what the decision was made here. But anyway, not to go into that because that's very intricate. What is very clear is that the American people want us to honor our oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Oh, God. She's quite a character. But
it sounded like she was acquiescing to the fact that they're not going to be able to keep him off the ballot. They're not going to throw him in jail. They're not going to keep him up. Like, she sounds resigned to the fact that all their dirty tricks didn't work. Did you get that sense? She's trying to kind of push it off?
Yeah, because she would love to see them, remove him from all the ballots and charge him with insurrection. She would absolutely like that, but she knows you can't really do that. And it's not working. It was an interesting strategy, but it's backfired, and they've had to walk that back. So they wanted to do it in California like they did in Colorado or Maine, but it's not going to fly. So
okay.
And it just shows how desperate they are to try to win this election, that they're going to try to, smear a candidate and not let him run again because they're afraid of him.
Yeah, really weird stuff. Okay, let me do this to kind of give you the... Jamie, could you pull up that video of that white comedian that we couldn't figure out? Oh, okay, cool. We got it. I'm just going to play this real quick, and then we'll get into our lightning round. What's this guy's name? This guy. Sorry, I can't...
I know this guy, Pete Holmes.
Yes, that guy. Okay. This was what
I don't know who he is.
This is the minute-long clip I was so inarticulately trying to communicate. I'll just play it for you.
Universe. Some people think nothing created the universe, which is the funniest guess.
Here we go.
Some people think God created the universe. Some people think nothing created the universe, which is the guess. And the nothing people make fun of the God people. They say God doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, maybe. But you know what definitely doesn't exist? Nothing.
And we could probably all agree that nothing doesn't exist. And so you have these two options.
Doggone it. I don't want to see whoever the hell you are. Doggone it. This
I know that you hate that.
Jamie would be helpful.
You want to get the real clip, and then you got commentary, right?
Look up Pete Holmes. Look up that little God skit. It's awesome. That's why I love comedy so much. Is like when a comic, a Chappelle or a Cart, like when even Pete Holmes in that one, I think it's one of the best I've ever seen. When they can really articulate something in a bite-sized piece that has a couple of laughs in it and has really gets you thinking, it's the best. It's the best type of intellectual, not pseudo-intellectual. I mean, the best. Anyway, look up Pete Holmes. God, doggone it. That's not what I was trying to show.
It's good stuff. It brings up an interesting question because I'm not a religious person, but I've gone from, full circle in a way. I've gone from born and raised as like a Catholic to like becoming an atheist to realizing, both, and then kind of going into kind of a new age sort of, spiritual, but not religious, because I can't really accept either or exactly like, oh, we were definitely created by God. And that's, we're like, straight out of the Bible. And it's like, Earth is just, this thing, like we're alone in the universe. Or is it that we just came out of nothing? So atheism is just as ridiculous to me as any kind of like rigid religious system. So, but it brings up interesting points, and it's always something to think about. So I don't know where we fit in. We're just kind of stumbling into our evolution, and we're just trying to figure these things out. where we came from, how it came to be. But it's more likely that we would come from God than we would just come just spontaneously out of completely nothing. So I think those are interesting points. So where atheism likes to make fun of, the idea that we could come from some kind of intelligent design, their philosophy doesn't make too much sense either. So this wouldn't just come out of nowhere. Everything, life, the universe, and everything. So anyway, good stuff.
Yeah. It is one of the main questions that we waste our time on not getting the answer to. Around playing politics and talking about sports, let them have bread and, but some of the main topics that we're supposed to be paying attention to go by the wayside. I'm trying one last time because it's right here. Let's see if he can.
Some people think nothing created the universe, which is the funniest guess.
Louder.
And I think people make fun of the God people. They say God doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, maybe. But you know what definitely doesn't exist? That's the defining characteristic of nothing, is that it doesn't exist. So what are we talking about? Either you think it's God, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove, or you think it's nothing, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove. But I think we can all agree, if your nothing sometimes spontaneously erupts into everything, that's a pretty goddamn magical fucking nothing, you guys. And ask the nothing. What happens when you die? They'll tell you nothing. You go into nothing. I'm like, you mean you merge back with your creator?
Whoa.
That's heaven, bitch. Some people think God.
Okay. Anyway, that's a little quieter.
Yeah.
So
I would just say this is just one element of a physical dimension, and that there is something spiritual to this whole thing, that there is a non-physical soul, spirit, source, something that goes on after we die. There's no such thing as just nothing. So, but yeah, and that's a great point that he made. So
yeah, check it out. That was a
really nicely done,
right? Really nicely done segment. Okay, lightning round. I just want to touch on this because this is kind of developing, and it's also one of these. I'm not going to waste a ton of time because I don't think anything's going to happen or come from it, but we got to talk about this. Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary, he's been hospitalized since the beginning of the year. I'll just read off. President Biden and Austin's second in command were unaware. He says, we've been shooting drones out of the sky in the Middle East like skeet, but who's been making these decisions? RNC Research says the Pentagon press secretary, Major General Pat Ryder, on the incapacitation scandal of Biden Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. The department recognizes the understandable concerns expressed by the public, Congress, and the news media. Blake, has this story crossed your desk? Are you aware of this? Any thoughts on this?
No, I did not know that Lloyd Austin was hospitalized or incapacitated or what have you. I don't know who's making who's calling the shots over there in the Middle East with the drone warfare.
And we know that Biden's not calling the shots because he doesn't know how to change his diapers or what day of the week it is.
Right.
Once again, it is time for dereliction of duty charges. Eric Erickson says Lloyd Austin underwent general anesthesia, and his gut call was to keep it from the commander-in-chief. I pray he recovers, but Austin shows a pattern of making the wrong gut calls time and time again, and he should be fired. Carl Higbee says this guy, Lloyd Austin, who I have such a deep personal hatred towards, was so bad in his previous role that he literally created an entirely new terrorist cell. So, incompetence at the highest level, scandal, the excuses from the White House about the Lloyd Austin scandal over Representative Darrell Issa. It just goes on and on. How did Biden not know? For the love of God. I mean, you want to talk, it's sleep at the switch. That is, this story is emblematic of the Joe Biden administration. Asleep at the switch, man. Asleep at the switch. Okay. Let's get into. Do we have a 2 minutes hate segment yet? A stinger?
No.
I need you to make one. Okay. Let's go into this story, Blake. Agree or disagree? What's that?
I wouldn't say today is especially hateful. So.
Okay. Agree or disagree that all Gaza coverage should be filtered through Israelis? agree or disagree? All Gaza coverage should be filtered through Israelis.
No, I'm going to, of course, disagree on that, but that appears to be the case because I did find a very interesting story about that from CNN. It says they admit all Gaza coverage is run past a team under an Israeli military censor. So CNN has long been criticized by media analysts and journalists for its deference to the Israeli government and the Israel Defense Forces and its coverage of the occupied Palestinian territories. Yeah, like they've always, or like Wolf Blitzer has been kind of suspected as being some kind of Israeli spy. You know, whatever. But yes, that it's infiltrated. And the cable network admitted days ago it follows a protocol that could give Israeli censors influence over its stories. The spokesperson for the network confirmed to The Intercept, another publication, that its news coverage about Israel and Palestine is run through and reviewed by the CNN Jerusalem Bureau, which is subject to the IDF censor. So if there's anything that's unfavorable towards the Israelis, they're about to announce some story about perhaps Israel doing some bad things to Palestinians, you're not going to hear about. So let's just say they did blow up a hospital and hundreds of Palestinian children were killed. The IDF censors would probably say, no, that was actually a Hamas headquarters. And that, yes, they were just human shields. Perhaps, but I'm just saying that there seem to be a filter to switch the narrative as being more favorable to Israel. Also about that, Washington Post has a narrative collapse. They're retracting Israeli Defense Minister, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Yoav Gallant's October 7th Hamas rape claims. So at the behest of the Israeli government, the Washington Post has self-censored a report public claiming falsely that Hamas militants had specific orders indicating which commanders should rape which civilians. So the fabrication came from none other than the Israeli defense minister, who apparently lied to the Post about Hamas militants. This was raping Israeli soldiers. I don't know if it's soldiers or probably civilians as part of the attacks that left 1,200 people dead. So it does seem that they do spread propaganda from the highest levels, and they report it as facts, but it's another one they've had to walk back. The Hamas attacks are obviously horrific, but they didn't need to add any BS propaganda on top of that. Anyway, so what else? This is 2 minutes of hate. I guess the other one is just a real quick one because we've covered this before. And it seems like it's an old article, even though this one is new. It says, no, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. This from Scott Lazarowitz, who is a Jew, who says the ignorant buffoons in the U.S. Congress have passed a bill. This was about a month ago, including a declaration that anti-Zionism equals anti-Semitism, but that is absurd. Do they know or understand what Zionism is? And Brian, we've done the Wikipedia version. We've done the Encyclopedia Britannica version. I think he sums this up pretty nicely. Well, this is what Zionism is. Unlike Judaism, which is a religion, Zionism is not a religion. It's a political movement that encourages Jews worldwide to move and relocate to the land of Israel, and it promotes a Jewish state. That's it. So
that's it. So there's no supremacy, there's no ill will, there's no evil. You mean it's just people that want to reside in what we know as Israel?
But you're taking a foreign land.
It's always used as a slur. I only hear Zionism as a slur, it seems. Well,
people are suspicious of these. So the Zionists, they're going to embrace Judaism, but now they're going to be Zionists and say, hey, well, we want to be connected to the ancient Hebrews and take over this land, which is, run by the, it's an Arab nation. And so it's created problems ever since. But, after the Holocaust, after the atrocities, the United Nations and what have you agreed to give land to these people. But then it blew up, and there was a civil war, and it's just been a lot of problems ever since. But it's also unfair for Congress to sit here and come out and say that anti-Zionism is the same as anti-Semitism. They're two very distinct things. So not all Jews are Zionists. And I don't know. There's a certain skepticism about that. But they have a right to exist. They have a right to have their philosophy. I just don't. I don't like some of their propaganda.
And you've said that not all Zionists are Jews.
I don't know about that. I think all Zionists are Jews, but not all Jews are Zionists.
No. You said that a lot of Jews are not actual Jews.
No, not all Jews are Zionists. That's true. Not all of them believe that or subscribe to Israel or believe that.
No. But the flip side to that, I'm saying the flip side to not all Jews are Zionists. You're saying not all Zionists are Jews.
That's not true.
There's people pretending to be Jews who just want the land.
Well, pretending to be connected to the ancient Hebrews of the Bible and saying that they have a claim to that land. They are not God's chosen people, and they're entitled to that land. Like, no. So they're not. There's no proof necessarily that they're the same bloodlines. So therefore,
with so many
Americans
Americans
to that land because they're not actually descendants of the ancient Hebrews. But even if they were, it's still that land has been occupied by the Arabs for 2,000 years, and they weren't there. So why do they get to make those claims? So, yeah.
And there's a lot of Americans and American Christians that are Zionists who are not Jewish.
Right. It might be pro-Israel, but I don't even know if a lot of people know what that even means. So I like the way that he summed that up. It's not a religion. It's a political movement. It's a political movement, as I've mentioned many times on this show. It's a lot of these people it's from the Bolshevik Revolution. People are like Trotskyites. They're Russian Jews, Ashkenazi, whatever. And it's a political movement, and they're claiming that they get to have this land. So, but it's been a lot of problems. It's not to be anti-Zionist. It's just saying that it's not the same thing. And you can't say that yeah. So I agree with what he says. That makes perfect sense to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the proper definition.
Right.
Blake, agree or disagree here? Shifting or disagree that there's nothing weird about these Jewish tunnels in New York. Have you seen this story? I don't know why it's not loading for me.
Well, I've seen the story. I just don't know what the angle or what are we going to say to agree or disagree. But it is strange.
There's nothing weird about it.
Oh, it is definitely weird. Or is nothing weird about it? I disagree. Obviously, it's weird if they are. Obviously, real estate's very expensive in New York, so perhaps they're building something underground to create some extra space. Who wants to go, live in some tiny little, fifth floor walk up in Brooklyn or something? Might be sharing walls and ceilings with all your neighbors. I couldn't imagine living in a dense population area like that in New York. So so we'll see what develops. But I know they poured concrete and fixed these tunnels that were built. So it obviously is strange, but I don't. It's not like they're having rituals or something. I have no idea what's happening there. Brian, why don't you fill me in? What do you think?
Well, number one, look, the Jewish tunnels are being sealed now. You saw videos of people climbing up out of here. The grate in the ground. Okay, here's...
Wait, what is Stu Peters saying? What is Stu Peters saying? Because he's been very vocal about
mattress.
What does mattress. Right, what is he saying in the caption there? Who is being forced to sleep on these child-sized mattresses hidden in illegal tunnels?
So here's the video. It's a soiled mattress. What an odd scene. Another mattress. Something it seems. Who's Stu Peters?
Stu Peters, he's another. He's a really, you don't know that? He's like a prominent other alt media guy.
No, I know the name. I don't watch his stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's from Minneapolis. He's been in some pretty high profile stuff with the the blood, the clots. He's had a lot, like Dr. Jane Ruby. He's hosted Alex Jones's show. He did the thing with the snake venom in the water. He's had some controversial stuff, but he's been very outspoken about Israel as well. And the other thing I was just mentioning when I was talking about it is because Congress, they passed a bill about stating that anti-Zionism is the same as anti-Semitism, and it's creating more issues when you're tying those two together. They're two distinct things. But anyway, I don't really have much to add to that. I think those are not the regular Zionist Jews. Those are the Hasidic Oxford. Where is Oxford?
This post
anyway,
here is
I don't have much to add, but I got to run, buddy. So what's the angle here? What do you think?
No, just saying that in Moscow, these tunnels were used as escape routes under the synagogues.
Oh, it could have been. Yeah, I'm sure at some point they were when they were being persecuted. Absolutely. So I wouldn't blame them, but I don't think they have much to worry about in New York.
I don't know, man. I've seen the Hamas and Palestine rallies. They're pretty violent, aggressive people. So we shall see. I did want to talk about the Miami Mall situation. Any thoughts?
Well, you're gonna do it on your own, buddy, because I gotta go. It's time for me to run.
All right.
So,
Thank you, Blake.
guys. See you later.
Talk to you Thursday. Follow Blake. He's at TV's Blake Walley and thenextlevelnews.com. One of the weirder stories that you will ever see came out of Miami. And let me see if I can pull this up. Just kind of scroll through some of these for you. The Miami Mall situation and UFOs. There were reports that there were some teenagers who had fireworks. Here's a video that people are saying there's unidentified. See, they're saying UFOs caught on camera. I mean, I guess unidentified flying object is easy to say, but when you start saying aliens right off the bat, like, how do you that's a very definitive statement. But as you can see here in this video, there's weird things in the sky. And then there's another thing over here looping around. Then this is splitting. That's so weird. And then they're just hovering in a formation. Really weird stuff that you're looking at. Anyway, that's not the main story. It's about the Bayside Mall. Trying to figure out if there was... Okay, so this is not Louis C.K. But anyway, Louis K.C. This person says, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but when this many cops show up to shut down a Miami mall and not one single person took a video from inside or driving by, something is off. Rumors are that there were 8 to 10 foot shadow aliens. Also, Epstein didn't kill himself. So yeah, I mean, this picture does not do it justice. It came from, I believe, a hotel across the street. Let me see if I can play you this. Maybe it pans left to right. Because if it pans left to right, you can see... All right, Byron, try to count the number of cops.
Esta es una llamada a todas las unidades de la ciudad de Miami.
And this is like every cop in the city of Miami.
Esta es una llamada a todas las unidades de la ciudad de Miami.
I didn't even know there were this many cop cars in Miami. So there's a lot of questions about what's going on down there. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. What's this? Another video of Miami UFOs.
Look at them. Not the little ones because my little mirror thing.
All right, so there's 3 in a triangle formation.
Right there, floating.
And then kind of taking off together, joining together again.
Look, this every day out here, or every night.
Are these drones?
Look at that.
Is it government activity? Is it extraterrestrial activity? Is it...
Look, the airport is right over here. That's the airport. You know what I mean? They always got little lights and stuff, you know, it's probably airplanes. But over here, this ain't the airport. Look at that. And them clouds not even moving. How the whole cloud not gonna move? They're sitting there. Look, ain't no other clouds in the sky. But right over here, look at them. And look at those lights. Bruh, y'all could, hey. Oh wait, it's a couple clouds right here, but look, they just frozen too.
What is this? Who knows? There's so much going on. Trying to sift through all the videos. A jellyfish UFO? Oh, is that what that is? Miami Mall aliens? Someone's saying they got the coordinates wrong and they were supposed to go somewhere else. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of silly videos that you got to sift through. And of course, the misinformation and disinformation. That's where things are going to get a little weird. You can see shadows up on the wall. They're going slow-mo here. What's the person saying? Ooh, yeah, some right there. Here, I'll mute the music so we don't get the copyright. But yeah, some of these videos, you can definitely see things that look like shadow shapes moving right there. Now, is that just somebody moving in front of a light source? I'm sorry, if you get a couple kids getting into a fight at the mall, you don't need 100 cop cars there for that. Yeah, I mean, 8 to 10 feet tall. That appears to be up on the second level. Bro, this is for real insane. I don't ever tweet about like weird stuff happening in the world, but this is too effing weird. Like, I'm just a Minecraft YouTuber, and this Miami Mall stuff is too insane not to tweet about. I'm telling you, aliens are real, and the government is trying to hide it. Was there some sort of operation in Miami? What's this one? At 9 o'clock on New Year's Day. Okay, I guess maybe I could... Here, let me click on this to expand, because this will show some of the video in question. From Michelle Hu. Around 9 p.m., the Bayside Marketplace in Miami, Florida was surrounded by over 60 police cars, and people were informed that it was due to a fight between several teenagers. However, the police's explanations were clearly unconvincing, and several legacy media outlets echoed the police's statements. Many netizens, citizens on the net, believed that a very unusual event was being covered up. At the same time, multiple eyewitnesses shared videos on social media and reported a shocking scene. An 8 to 10 foot tall, semi-transparent gray creature appeared near the mall. These videos and multiple eyewitness testimonies quickly spread across the internet and caused a stir. When examining the video and analyzed the creature's frequency, we discovered that the gray creature was actually a dinoid from the Puerto Rico Trench. Okay, now I'm out of my depth here. I'm just reading as I go. The underground dinoid base has been severely impacted by the recent Earth's intense negativity purge. The dinoid that appeared in Miami had a near-death frequency. It probably didn't have much time left. The ongoing purge of Earth has made it difficult for frequency creatures to survive, which is a natural evolution process. The wave of mass awakening cannot be simply brushed off by the police and media labeling them as conspiracy theorists. 2024 is destined to be a year of collective consciousness awakening. By the way, if you haven't seen the Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharp, I recommend you do. He had a similar commentary saying that 2024, everything's going to be revealed. Let's see if I can full screen this, just show you this video. It appears to be kind of like out at the front of the mall. It's kind of like a bump out with a couple of 1, 2, 3 steps. And then a landing, kind of like a... Oh, that is so weird. What are you looking at here? I'm just going to tweet this out. Follow us. We're at American_media_. It appears I already have. But if you can see, I mean, this is it kind of looks like praying mantis legs that are like on like sharp 90-degree angles, like kind of lifting up and walking. Like, I mean, if I'm just kind of comparing it to the size of a cop car, geez, quadruple the height, triple the height of a cop car. If cop car's 4 feet, double the height is 8, triple the feet's 12. That's in the 8 to 10 foot. That's a weird video you're looking at there. It's blurry. Here's the audio with it. Here, I'll mute the sirens so you can watch it in real time. But something's occurring. Is it somebody walking in front? But it matches the description of what people are. Also, why aren't there videos of this? More videos of this? Well, I mean, if there's something that's metaphysical, is it all that shocking to believe that maybe the recording devices could be disabled? A sort of electromagnetic frequency burst, some sort of a cloaking mechanism that would shut down the ability to record. I mean, look, if we're talking interdimensional beings 10 feet tall, requiring looks like every single cop car in Miami, well, I mean, it's not too far of a jump to say that maybe it's possible that they could disrupt the ability of other people to record incidents. You know, here's a still frame of what appears to be sitting out there by the cop car. It's grainy and weird, but it's a weird shape. That's for darn sure. And then they said this is the underground dinoid base in Central America by Puerto Rico. Okay. I guess, you know, south of the Bermuda Triangle. Well, south of Bermuda, way south, since that's up by Charleston, I suppose. But, you know, east of Cuba or by Dominican Republic. I don't know. I don't know what to make of any of this, but I am interested in the story. And I'm curious what you think. So leave your comments about what you think was going on at the mall. I don't know what to make of this, but I find it interesting. I mean, I find it much more interesting than talking about, turmoil in the Middle East. Impasse in Congress as they debate a budget situation. You're like, yeah, I mean, these are the same stories that have been told for 100 years in a row, 70 years in a row. There's really nothing to it. It's the same thing over and over again. So anyway, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about the Miami situation. It's just when a story pops and it's strange, I either investigate some and I can explain some of the stuff away, or else it gets stranger. This one has gotten a little stranger because I saw it on the night of New Year's, and it seemed bizarre that just a fight at the mall would bring 100 cop cars over. And ever since then, the stories and reports coming out of there have gotten increasingly weirder and weirder. So we will keep our eyes peeled on this. If you have anything to say about it, leave your comments. But, you know, see, it seems like 2024 is going to be a hell of a weird year, and that's a great way to start a weird year, everybody. So I want to thank Blake Walley for joining us on today's show. Follow him at TV's Blake Walley on X and at The Next Level News on his website. This is the the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media. So please hit like, hit subscribe, leave some comments on Rumble. Follow us, subscribe over there, the New American Media. On Spotify, subscribe to the podcast, the Agree to Disagree show. The New American Media is on Truth Social, so find us there and connect. On X, we're at American_Media_. On Telegram, we're at TNAM and TNAM Chat. On Facebook, it's the New American Media page. And quotation marks, TNAM apostrophe S, TNAM's the Agree to Disagree show, quotation marks. Search it exactly, and you might be able to find our private group. On Instagram, the New American Media. And on Signal as well. So we're all over the place. Follow us and follow Blake, and we appreciate every one of you participating in today's program. So we'll be back on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So signing out for Blake and everybody here at the TNAM network. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.